Hi guys and welcome back again to the Tech YouTube channel. As some of you may know, Nvidia just recently released their more budget-friendly graphics cards, the GTX 950 series, and it actually comes in as the successor of the GTX 750 and 750 Ti series, which represented the starting point of the Maxwell architecture on which the GTX 950 series also pulls its roots. On that note, today we are checking out the Gigabyte's GTX 950 WindForce OC Edition model. The product box is your usual example of Gigabyte's packaging when it comes to graphics card. Front side reveals almost nothing except the model name, while on the back you'll find some information about the WindForce cooler, second generation of ultra durable design and high quality component which it brings, and a mention of Gigabyte's OC Guru 2 software. Opening up the box, for the bundle you will get, well, nothing actually beside the user manual and optical disc with drivers and software, but hey, at least the graphics card is here. The design of the card, or to be more precise of the cooler, is pretty much a familiar solution seen on other Gigabyte's graphics cards. Although the outer shell is usually made out of metal, this time we are greeted by a plastic mold. It gives the card a nice aesthetic look, especially since it has a WindForce logo on the side, but beside that it doesn't have any cooling capabilities, and it's here to cover the aluminum heatsink, which actually does the work of cooling, together with the two 80mm fans and without any heat pipes. Of course, being a more budget-oriented graphics card, it doesn't have a metal backplate, but on the other hand at least it's very short, so it fits inside smaller ITX chassis. For powering up, this little beast only needs one 6-pin PCI Express power connector, or two of them if you plan to put in a second GTX 950 card, since it supports two-way SLI. For video outputs you'll get one HDMI, one DisplayPort, DVI and DVI-D connector. As we said, this particular model comes in factory overclocked with GPU boost clock speeds going up to 1279 MHz, which is almost 100 MHz more than the reference model. Combine that with 2GB of GDDR5 VRAM and 768 CUDA cores, the GTX 950 has a great foundation in being a solid graphics card for 1080p gaming. As you'll see later on, that prediction turned out to be correct, but before we start with testing, we wanted to introduce you to our second GTX 950 card, which is also from Gigabyte. This model is a bit different than the WindForce version, as it's a single 90mm fan edition, which comes in, as you can see, with a different cooler design and before all lower GPU clock speeds. Putting the cards onto our rig, first we checked out the performance of the WindForce model, since it is the stronger one out of two, to see how it copes with portfolio of demanding games in high graphical settings and 1080p resolution. After we were done with that, we paired it with the second GTX 950 into a SLI setup. Taking a look at the performance results, a single GTX 950 handles games without any problem, although we weren't coming very close to the 60 FPS mark. Bear in mind that you can always dumb down the settings a little bit, especially since the ones here were practically maxed out, and with that you'll certainly get additional frames. As you can notice by looking at the graphs, the SLI setup with the second card brought in from 50 to almost 100% performance increase across the testing field, which actually makes this setup an interesting budget solution. If you are wondering about the single card performance of the second card, the GTX 950 single fan edition, you can expect about 5% lower results in comparison to the WindForce model, just based on the lower GPU clock speeds. For a final conclusion, we separately tested both models under idle and load to check out temperatures and cooling capabilities of their coolers. On account of the GTX 950's overall lower power consumption and Gigabyte's aftermarket cooler implementation, we were getting 24 degrees Celsius for idle and around 62 degrees Celsius on our firmware stress test load for the WindForce model. The single fan model was idling at 22 degrees Celsius and hitting 66 degrees Celsius under load, while being a bit louder than the WindForce version. Speaking of the acoustics, it's a shame that both models don't have a 0 RPM passive fan working mode, especially since they don't output so much heat. Thank you once again guys for checking out our unboxing and review of the Gigabyte GTX 950 WindForce OC graphics card. Feel free to give us a thumbs up if you like this video, leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the product, and of course, if you would like to see more content like this, you can subscribe to our TechTech YouTube channel, or you can check out our other videos from before.